Good morning. It's Saturday, June 24th. Another weekly garden tour. It's been a rainy week, so it's very squishy around the yard. You can see the water sitting on the soil cube bag and in my garden buckets. We've had probably 4 inches of rain this week. Here's my new tote garden that I made last week. I just filled the tote up mostly with wood chips and then soil cube. I've got the Kajari melons, which are finally taken off. I had not very much luck getting them started, but these look like they're gonna go now. And then some 4 o'clock flowers at the front. Of course, I've had the irrigation turned off all week. The beautyberry bush is starting to flower. Flowers are looking good. They will make some beautiful purple berries later this summer. Right now they're just delicate little flowers, but the bush is all filled out. I've got another container of potatoes there that it's getting near the end, but they're hanging in there. The canna lilies are starting to bloom. I have moved the nasturtiums. I've never grown nasturtiums before and had no idea how they were going to take over. So I've pulled that out and repotted it, so it's not looking real healthy right now, but I'm sure it will come back. Those are my atomic tomatoes back here, the grape tomatoes. I picked one yesterday, the first one. They're grape tomatoes. They're very, very large grape tomatoes, and they have some unique coloring to them. So I haven't tasted one yet. We'll see how they taste. The verbena is doing great, spreading like crazy. Peanuts along the front. I've got these 2 that I just planted. This one's not up yet, but I just took the milk jug off that one, and there's a little start coming, so hopefully it will soon look as nice as these other ones. And fill in along the front. I planted some zinnia seeds earlier this week. They're just starting to come up. So hopefully they'll come up all along the front behind the peanuts, because I don't want any actual garden to show, any garden soil to show. Cosmos have been doing great. Everything's a little waterlogged this morning. You can see I don't know if you can see it, but there's just standing water on everything. And they're all a little wilty because they've been so wet for so long. And still more rain coming. This is a newest dahlia color. I think it's really pretty, just starting to open. These are the Cafe au Lait dahlias that have been just putting on show after show after show. They're gorgeous. They're the dinner plate size dahlias. They're gorgeous. This one needs to get picked. He's done raining down his petals. These are a pretty color. The disadvantage to these is they are so tall that the blooms don't really show. So they're much better for picked flowers than they are in the garden. It's just a lot of stalk, and the color points straight up mostly, so it's not as pretty from a distance as these ones are. So I probably won't plant these again. I do cut them and bring them in, but I like to enjoy them outside. This is my purple carrot that has gotten to like over 8 feet tall and falling over because of the rain, but it's been fun to watch growing, and I'm hoping we'll go to seed and spread a little seed in this garden, and I'll have some for planting. It's a little messy right now again because of the rain. And more verbena down here looking pretty, spilling over. Sunflowers back here. I've got a sunflower back there. I can see it there. Coming up behind all the dahlias and cosmos. This is my Super Sweet 100. It's got lots of production in there. Still pretty small. I've harvested a few from the bottom, a few little red ones, but I've got lots of green ones coming in, so I'll be enjoying those later. Tom has not had a chance to put his sailboats back. I had to bring them in and do some work on them because they were kind of wobbly, so this post is just waiting for the sailboats to come back. Hibiscus is just totally loaded with buds, totally loaded. It's the biggest it's been. I've had it for 3 years maybe, and it's starting to get huge. It's been producing flowers like crazy every day, and just so many more buds coming. And then I've got the sunflowers. They're getting taller than the fence, so we're up to over 8 feet, I think, on a couple of them. They're not as big around as I'd hoped, and so I have them tied up because I don't want them to fall over. So I'm hoping that they'll get thicker and be able to support their weight pretty soon. This is my second cucumber down here. The first one died, and then I thought this one was going to die, but it's coming back, so fingers crossed this will make it. This one is a pickling cucumber. The snapdragons they're sort of taking a break, but I think they're going to come back. There's some buds on there. And the coneflowers are really beautiful right now. Just beautiful. Just lush and full and so pretty. Those obviously are the purple ones. I've got the sunflowers back behind there. They're still pretty small. Red coneflower. Shasta daisies. Yellow coneflower. More purple coneflower. More sunflowers back behind. A determinate tomato. There's more, looks like more coneflower babies. And I got some cosmos back there. And that is aster. And of course the blanket flowers all along the front have done exactly what I wanted them to do, just fill in the front. Like I said, I started with one plant down there a couple years ago and just let the babies take over the front of this garden. So I'm really liking how this one's looking. I'm probably gonna have to move those yellow and red coneflowers at some point because they're just gonna get overtaken by the purple coneflowers and the Shasta daisies. So I don't know, move the snapdragons and put them on the outside of the purple coneflowers, but I'll figure it out as I go. The bee balm is looking wonderful. They are bringing in the hummingbirds. It's so pretty. These daylilies have been really blooming, beautiful. A little bit early for them this morning, but they bloom every day. That passion flower along the fence is just going nuts. And I'm enjoying that. That is popping up everywhere, just like I was warned it would. It is a weed, but it's a beautiful weed. Butterfly bushes are looking better now that they're got some rain. I think that was their problem. It was just too dry for them. They're looking much, much healthier now. Yarrow gladiolas are done. Here's the daylilies. Of course, they're mostly done for today, but we got some here getting ready to open for today. Black and blue. There's the passion flower again. Just training it along the fence and try to work with it every day to keep it out of the trees. And I've got fishing line along the fence. I'm moving it along. This garden's mostly green right now. I do have some self-planted sunflowers. They were planted by the birds. And I've tried to get them into a reasonable location. We'll see how they do. Dianthus are still doing good. I do have some little seedlings from Mom gave to me. I think it's a pink columbine. So maybe next spring I'll be able to enjoy those. I got some carrots down here, hiding in there, but they're growing good. The wild geranium is still got the beautiful purple flowers. Not as prolific as it was in the summer or spring, but it's still very pretty. This mum has taken off. Pinched it back in the spring, but it's really looking healthy now. I think I was gifted this a couple years ago in the fall, and I just tucked it in here, and it likes it here. Again, these two little annuals that I don't remember the names of. Some sunflowers. It's my last gladiola. A lot of these got knocked down in the storms we had this week, and I brought them in the house, so I had lots of them in the house. sunflowers and cosmos. And the sun patience, more dianthus. Now the 2 bluebird eggs that survived, there was 4, 2 got taken and 2 have never hatched. They're still in there. I don't think that's gonna happen at this point. Sunflowers are doing amazing over here. And the daylilies, they're so pretty. Look at that. So beautiful. So I'm excited about these sunflowers. This one over here in the middle is a variety that has multiple blooms on it. You can see at every stalk there's a bud. So I think this is not a yellow variety. I don't remember, because as I was planting them, there was, as quickly as they were coming up, slugs were taking them down. So I just kept replanting. So at this point, I don't remember what got planted where. But this is the only one that I see so far that has those multiple blooms on it. The rest of them are the tall, 1 bloom at the top, which I think are all yellow. So we'll see when they start blooming. So I'm really happy with how this whole area is looking. The hollyhocks in front of the trellis are getting big, and the morning glories are climbing up like I wanted them to. We've got a ways to go, but we've got lots of time. But this one's like not quite to the top, but it's getting there. It's climbing up there. So hopefully that will fill in and get nice and thick and make this arch beautiful the way I envisioned it to be. This side's not quite as tall, but it's still vining, so that is good. More sunflowers, more morning glories on the fence. This in front is peonies that are done, but the greenery is beautiful. Brown-eyed Susans back there, the gladiolas, which are done. The daylilies, which are getting ready to open. Look at that, the water drops. Isn't that pretty? I love that. I love the raindrops on the flowers. Those are stargazer lilies. And then brown-eyed Susan bud back there. This is, what is this called? It's echinacea coneflower. I don't remember the name of it. I'll have to look it up, but it is supposed to be multicolored, like oranges and yellows. So far it looks like I've got 2 orange ones. Those are the first 2 blooms I've gotten. I just planted this a few weeks ago. Lots of buds on it, so we'll see if any of them are different colors. It would be kind of fun to have 2 different color flowers on the same plant. I'll see if it does that. All the annuals that are growing like crazy. They're all liking this rain. This is a pineapple lily. There's 2 plants, but only one has a pineapple growing. I think it's a very unique looking plant. I really like it. That'll get taller and looks more like a pineapple all the time. Very cool looking plant. And the straw flower, which is not much like straw today because it's wet. It's all closed up. But back there's my little lone white echinacea coneflower. And there's some brown-eyed Susans. I think those are so pretty. And there's more morning glory going up the fence. And the asters. Now I've never had asters do this bloom this early in the season. Typically I get just a little bit of a bloom on them and then they do their show in the fall. So I don't know if I'm going to get 2 shows out of this plant or if it's going to be a early summer bloom and then that's it this year. We'll have to see. I don't remember what this is called. I got it at the Food Cupboard Gardens plant sale last year and it bloomed. It looked very much like an aster when it bloomed, only it's white. And that's why I put them together because I thought they would bloom at the same time. It blooms in the fall. And it got way taller this year than it was last year. So that's why I put it against the fence because I could tell it was going to be tall. I don't remember the name of it, but it was very pretty. So I thought they'd bloom at the same time. So we'll see if the purple aster blooms again this fall. This is my watermelon. Again, this is the watermelon ledge that I had Tom build for me so the water can go under, which is great because we don't right this minute. There's a little bit here. We have standing water that literally And this whole corner is probably an inch to 2 inches sometimes deep. And so I knew we had to keep these up off the ground, and this is working like a charm. You can hear squishing, and I'm standing in a puddle right now. The watermelon is doing great, and I have one baby watermelon back there. It looks pretty happy. It had more flowers. I don't see them. Oh, here's one that might take off. We'll see. There's a little one. Well, hopefully we'll get a few watermelons off this plant. But that's working like a charm. I'm happy with that. Sun's starting to come up over the trees now. Not quite, but almost there. So this is the vegetable side, for the most part. Here is my 4 o'clock flowers. It took a while to get those going because the slugs kept getting them. These are all these determinant tomatoes that I bought, and they came in a pack of 9, and I just kept planting them wherever I could. So there's a lot of those. There's the eggplant that I'm going to share with my neighbor today because I don't eat them, and she does. So if there's other people who want eggplant, please let me know. Please ask. I'm happy to share. I just enjoy the growing process, but I'm happy to share with people who want them. Tomatoes are all, this tomato plant's not producing a ton. I only have a couple tomatoes on there, but they're looking pretty healthy. This plant has quite a few actually. The best production I've had in full-size tomatoes ever here. I've done real well with cherry tomatoes and grape tomatoes, but the full-size tomatoes have not done well for me in years past, but this year they're looking pretty good. Happy about that. Here comes the sunshine. These are the black Krim tomatoes. I just have fun watching these grow because they are so pretty. The sun's making it hard for me to see in here, but I think you can see the water droplets on the tomato. And here's some over here. Look at that. The coloring is just spectacular. Look at that. There comes the sun. So pretty. So pretty. Hopefully they're as tasty as they are pretty, but most of why I plant things is because how pretty everything is. My purple garden, a little droopy this morning in the rain. This is a cream sausage tomato. It's a paste tomato. I don't have any tomatoes yet. Had some blossoms. This plant got chewed down by birds, I think. So I had it covered for a long time, and it came back with a vengeance. That's why these are here. I had netting, and then it got too big for the netting, and then I put these out. And it seems to be keeping them away now. And I have a tomato. This is a purple, not tomato, a pepper. It's a purple pepper down here. So hopefully those will take off. Both of those got eaten by birds and have come back. I've got the black and blue. Just gorgeous. Look at all the blossoms on the ground. Hummingbirds love this plant, and it's wonderful to sit at the kitchen table and just watch them come and eat the bird feeders, but going to the black and blues is the best part. This is my cucumber patch. These are the green apple cucumbers, and they are just going crazy. Trying to keep them on this side. The green apple cucumbers plant has done the best of my cucumbers. It's just prolific. I had picked 2 or 3 so far, but there's flowers everywhere. Let's see if I can find one in here. I know there's some in here. They're hard to see. They hide pretty good. Here's one right here. So that's what they look like. That I'll be ready to pick today. And they're very tasty. So I'm hoping I have a lot and then I can share them. But right now, just sort of coming in one at a time. But I assume as season goes on, oh, there's another one down there, that I'll have plenty to share. Of course, I've got onions growing. I had lettuce, but I've pulled that out now that it's hot, and I replanted some more onions down in there. This is more Kajari melon. I'm not sure if this is a cucumber or a melon now. I planted them all in here, and that's a cucumber. I see one on there. I think that's a Bait Alpha cucumber. these are Kajari melons. And again, I was planting them and slugs were eating them, planting them, slugs were eating them, and now look like they're gonna make it. So it'll be crowded in here, which I predicted it would be, but. And this is where I had potatoes. They were all along the edge corner of this bed, and pulled those out yesterday. And they were beautiful. Biggest potatoes I got this season. They were great. And then my beets over here, I've been sort of thinning them as they grow, but they have been phenomenal, beautiful, and so tasty. Carrots, been taking them out just a few at a time, thinning them out. They're not getting huge, but they're good. The bleeding heart, the clematis, coming up over the fence, looking good. There's more tomatoes, marigolds, morning glory going along the fence. More tomatoes here. The sun's making it hard to get these. I'm making a shadow on it. There we go. Love the raindrops. This is my strawberry bed with the nasturtiums. This is where I had nasturtiums throughout here, and I pulled out all but one plant because it was just taken over, and I want the strawberries to have room. So I've got onions in there along the edges as well. So I've got some strawberry plants are looking great. I got some strawberries here. I don't know if I'll be able to harvest them or if the birds will get them. I do need to research some covering for this bed to try to keep the birds off of the strawberries. And I've got cantaloupe growing here. So far I haven't seen any melons on it yet, but lots of flowers, so hopefully we'll get some cantaloupes off of that. Another container of potatoes. This is my rice with standing water in it, which is what they like. Again, it's not as full as I'd hoped it was going to be because we lost a lot along the way, but it is starting to look very pretty. This is a black Madras rice. You can see, I don't know if you can tell in the sunshine, but it's got a purple hue to it. So it'll just be a pretty grass growing there, which looks nice. That beer can is because it's part of my slug control. These are my watermelons. Look at that. There's one there and one there that look really healthy. I sure hope they make it. The plant is not very big, but the watermelons are looking healthy. Growing in a straw bale. And over here, of course, the crepe myrtle is doing its beautiful show. And then the poppies basically done. Now I'm just waiting for them. So they're gonna look kind of yucky for a little while, but I'm letting them go to seed so I can collect the seed and have some more next year. I do have morning glories climbing up the eave over there, the gutter, to go up along the front porch, and some zinnias. And what else do I have over there? I think there's some cosmos. When the poppies come out, I'll put some more annuals in there. So the sun's right in my eyes. I can't see where I'm going here. It's a little jungle in here. It sure is pretty. And of course the amaryllis down here by the bird bath. And then the blueberries, which I've been harvesting now every day. This is not keeping the birds out. They are very persistent, and they can get through that chicken wire just fine. So next year we're gonna come up with something different. I don't know, they're very persistent, but there's enough for us to share at this point. But here we go, they're coming in, onesie twosies, but enough for me to have on my cereal and have for snacking. I think they're very pretty. There's some more blue ones down here. So I get pretty wet right now coming out here because I have to walk in here and everything, with all the rain, everything's soaking wet. But it's worth it. Worth it for the harvest. So they're looking good. And then our moonflowers are taking off. They're getting big. They're obviously too close together, but they'll be what they'll be. And then look at this aloofa, which I did not think was gonna make it. It's looking really healthy now. So hopefully I'll get a loofah. And then the volunteer tomato was not looking very healthy for a while, but it's looking pretty good after this rain. So maybe that'll take off as well. Here's some more nasturtiums I pulled out, and it's just sitting in a bucket. I don't know where to put them, but they're still flowering, so I'll just enjoy them like that. So that is Saturday morning, June 24th garden tour. And I will update you again next week. Have a good week.